you're not being let off by someone out there who's an Antonio Conte fan. Martin O'Neill suggesting laziness regarding Antonio Conte. That's bordering on disrespect. 4 Serie A titles, 1 Premier League title. Martin, Conte. Now, you would go down that line. You're not a fan of Conte's nowadays, Simon, are you?
No, not at the moment.
No, this has got nothing to do with what he has done in the past. He's been a terrific manager. There's no question about it. If life ended today, Conte would go down as a terrific manager. So but when you get to a football club and you think that you've done it before and that automatically everything should happen for you and it doesn't, then you've got to take some responsibility. That's the point.
Well said.
That is my point.
Well said.
But were you not suggesting that the foundations? Conte was suggesting the foundations weren't really there at the time for him.
It doesn't really matter. You know these situations. You have a fair idea. You're stepping into something. It's getting back to what Simon mentioned at the top of the programme about doing some due diligence. You know the players. There are some football players at Tottenham Hotspur that are really worth working with. Really worth working with, really top quality players. There are a number of players that you know that will probably, if you want to take this side into Champions League football or even attempt to try and go for the Premier League title, there'll be 1 or 2 of those Tottenham Hotspur players who will fall by the wayside. Yeah. You know all of these things.
But that's
going
where
in.
he was right, because Conte was saying there's a number of players here shouldn't be here.
They're also part of your job. If you're getting, it doesn't matter whether you're getting threepence or whether you're getting £10 million a year. Your job is to try and improve players. That's the whole. Even improve those players you think will take a lot of them, don't need that much more improvement in their game. Your job is to improve a team defensively, a team offensively, and getting them to play to their strengths, and all of these things here. And this idea, whatever you do, you will. Regardless of what you think of those players in the dressing room, regardless of what you say to them in the dressing room, don't be coming out and then just having a go at the players immediately after a match where they conceded some late goals in the game. So
have you ever done that post-match, Martin? Laid in a bit to the players?
Listen, I'm quite sure I'll probably pick up something of where I made some sort of catty remark that I might have regretted. I'm sure of that there, but I don't honestly think, and a lot of the players, ex-players who have worked with me, have said this year that one of the points is that they expected criticism in the dressing room, but they did not expect and didn't get public,
just before we leave Tottenham, though,
disrepute.
And I'm sticking to this because I want to get this out of you if you think this. Are there not warning signs there for Ange Postecoglou?
In what sense?
That maybe, take Harry Kane to one side, there are players there who didn't do a job for the likes of Mourinho and didn't do a job for the likes of Conte. Yeah. Well, why are they going to do a job for the likes of Ange Postecoglou?
Well, that's part. He will be going in feeling that he will be able to change these things. That's the point.
But they were ultimate winners, and they couldn't get a tune out of them. Mourinho, Conte.
Yeah.
So why is he going to? And it's the same players.
Well, he might have to change things. This is the whole point. This might be a new voice. It might be a manner in which he says something to them. If he's going in there will be 1 or 2 players who will have to accept some sort of criticism. This is the whole point. If I was stepping in there at Tottenham Hotspur, there would be a number of players you feel that you want to definitely keep at the football club, and there's other players you would have to be as honest as you possibly can with them, saying you've got to do better. You've got to do better. You shouldn't really. You have been part of the reason why Tottenham Hotspur have not been successful for a number of years, and if you've been around for 4 or 5 years and they haven't been successful in that time. They did reach the Champions League final a few years ago. Yeah. But outside that it seems as if they're in a downward spiral. And it seems as if they lose heart when they go behind in games. All of those things. Your job as a manager is to improve all of that there. And if you feel as if you can do that, then why not take the job?
See, it's an unfair characterisation, and it's the right characterisation, but it's steeped in a sentiment that we're looking at Conte and Mourinho through the eyes of Conte and Mourinho that did jobs at Inter Milan and did jobs at Chelsea and were a different Conte and Mourinho. They were managers that were prepared to do whatever it took to get players to perform the way they wanted to. What we got in the end with Conte is someone that didn't want to be there. and he didn't want to take the task on. He didn't want to finish the job. He, you know, if Conte wanted to leave, again, it goes down to the pride of an individual. If I'm Antonio Conte, which I'm not, if I wanted to leave in the summer, I'd accept that I signed a 2-year contract. I'm leaving in the summer because that's the contract I signed. But I'd go out hard, and I'd go out with some pride, and I'd go out dragging these players, kicking and screaming to the point where I'd got every last thing out of them. There's not a single player in that Tottenham dressing room during his tenure that anyone can point to and say that Antonio Conte particularly advanced. Now, that can't be a win. That can't be. Kane maintained his standards. But Kane's a self-starter. He doesn't need Antonio Conte to help him. He's a self-starter. So with that in mind, Postecoglou goes in there. I imagine his biggest challenge will be managing his relationship with Daniel. That's going to be the biggest challenge of Tottenham Hotspur, because if he gets it going and gets it going to a level, and of course the style of play will come into... I always believe the best style of play is a winning style of play, but we've also got a style of play in people's minds now that Tottenham got to play a certain way. So he'll play probably ambitious football and also be mindful of the fact there are going to be better teams that can take him to pieces at this moment in time. But notwithstanding that, he'll be a different brand of football than the turgid stuff that we saw from Conte last year. And then the dialogue comes in when Tottenham start going in the right direction. Has he got the dynamics and the fundamentals of his relationship and the understanding with Daniel right from the offset? And that will be the determiner as to how successfully... Because I think this guy has got the ability, if he's supported, and I do make the accusation...
Oh, you've said this consistently.
But I say it, and I mean it, because people think I'm a Daniel Levy acolyte. I think Daniel spends a fiver sometimes to save a pound. And I don't understand some of the logic that he deploys. And there's an accountancy mentality, because sometimes you've got to invest and you've got to speculate, and there's an element of speculate to accumulate. And the challenge will be, if and when, which I think he will, he straightens this team up and makes it start to fly, right, and gets his own personality in there, and maybe moves out some of the people that he knows he doesn't want already, because he'd already seen it and already looked at it, and starts to get his personality and it starts to go the right way, then we will see how far the Levy-Postecoglou dynamic works.
I'd love to see that, Martin, because I'd love to see Ange do what Mourinho and Conte couldn't. I'd love to see it.
I think every Tottenham fan would want to see that. Yeah, no, Simon's absolutely right. You were taking on two confirmed winners, two serial winners at a football club. But then you have to take in at what stage, and this is my word, and I maybe loosely learned laziness. It's the fact is that you step into a job and you immediately think that you can do the same again, that you will do exactly the same. Sometimes the dynamic changes a little bit, and you have to maybe work a little bit harder. Some of the players that you have at your disposal might not have been as good as the players that you were able to win the Champions League with. So those type of things. But you have to suss that early on, and I think they did do. It's what you do about it then after that is the most important thing. That's the whole point about it. And if you know eventually as a manager that you will take the flak for everything that happens there, that players can hide away, and that's happened for years and years and years, that's fine. Then you will leave no stone unturned in your ability to change the fortunes of that team.